$53,000.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a lot of credit card debt. Sometimes you just never catch up. So now you got to figure out, okay, what do I do?
Today we're joined by Lloyd, 4-year Marine Corps veteran, to talk about his financial journey and all the steps that he took along the way to find financial freedom.
I can't control the price of food. I can't control the price of gas. Everybody's scared. I'm an adult. I worked hard for my money. I can spend my money on what I want to do. You don't want people to know you struggle with finances, even though they're probably struggling too. So being in debt is just taboo. There are so many resources out there. You just gotta swallow a little bit of pride. You're already in debt. You're up to your nostrils. You have to have help. You can't fix yourself. So everything's a struggle until you know how to handle it.
Would you do it all again? Can we start with Franklin Park? Can we talk about the origin story?
Yeah, we can. It's actually North Lake, but nobody knows where North Lake is.
Right.
It's all Franklin Park, Melrose Park. So I spent my formative years right outside O'Hare Airport. So
yeah,
graduated high school and right out of high school went to the military.
Yeah.
But it's grown a lot and nice to be back home.
What was the reason that you decided to enlist? You had said that you had family, but when we were talking, you said maybe an ultimatum was presented your way.
Yes, sir. My dad, I wasn't a very good student. I had a lot of fun in high school.
Okay.
And my dad said, you got 3 choices. You can go to college. I'll pay for it. Got to pass. You can stay home, work, pay room and board. You can live here, no worries, or the military. So I was at odds with my folks. I was at that age where, nothing, they couldn't tell me anything that I believed was right and all that stuff. Sure. You're growing up, it's just rebellious stuff. So I decided that I'll join the military. Probably was the best thing I ever did because it made me realize that, your parents are only doing stuff to help you. Right. So I grew up a lot when I was in the military. It's you had to follow rules.
Yeah. All
of a sudden, these were the rules, and same rules your parents had, but you just got away with not doing them at home. You didn't get away with doing them in the military when you went out, and it was one of the coolest things I ever did.
So you were 18 until 24, is that right, when you served?
Yeah, I did that 4 years.
In the initial conversations around joining and enlisting, did you have any idea which branch? Did you have any push or pull one way?
Well, I had a couple friends that were looking at the Marine Corps, and in the Army back in the day, you could actually go into the Army to avoid going somewhere else.
Sure.
Jail. You can't like everybody all the time, so I didn't want nothing to happen that, get hurt from my own folks. Wanted to be a pilot. Couldn't because I wear glasses, contacts, etc. So I didn't go in the Air Force. The Navy, I didn't want to spend 6 months on a ship out in the middle of the ocean with 5,000 guys. So that left the Marine Corps.
That's a great sort of process of elimination.
Yes, it was.
Do you remember at all the conversation with family or any friends even that not only are you going to enlist, but you're going for the Marine Corps?
I remember talking to my dad, and it was, the longest boot camp. They call them the few, the proud for a reason. Anybody can join the Army.
Yeah.
Not everybody can be a Marine. So, it was good for me. Proud to be a Marine, yeah.
Yeah.
It is. It's if you walk in any grocery parking lot and you start looking at bumpers, you'll see a few Air Forces. The Army's pretty proud of themselves. You'll see some, Army one, but you won't see you'll see more Marine Corps bumper stickers or stickers on windows than of any other branch. So yeah, people are proud to be a Marine.
We have a neighbor nearby that has the Marine Corps flag hanging outside his house. Yeah, there is something different about sort of the pride that comes along with it, the identification part of it. Mm-hmm. I'm just curious to know in like your day-to-day life, does it come up organically? Do you kind of look at people and bring it up in conversation? I'd just be curious around that.
Normally I wear a hat and it'll have, USMC or it'll have veteran on it or something like that. And then you'll see Vietnam veteran and you always, thank you for your service, and then or it'll say Marine veteran. And when Marines meet Marines, it's always Semper Fi, and you shake hands, and they know you're a Marine that way. And so that's how it mostly comes up.
My cousin is stationed as an officer in the U.S. Army, and he's active duty. Something that we talk about a lot when we talk on the phone is the thank you for your service line. Mm-hmm. I think the intention is always pretty good. Yeah. Like, we've been conditioned to kind of bring that up, especially just as a civilian, as somebody who's never served.
Right.
I'd be curious to know, as like a civilian to an actual veteran, does that line land well? Do you wish it was something else?
No, when people say thank you for your service, I say, well, thanks for making it worthwhile serving.
Okay.
Because then it throws something into their mind to be a better person, because I'm a total stranger.
Yeah.
And, they're thanking me for my service, but they know we did it for them.
Yeah.
And ourselves, our family, stuff like that. And so it makes them think, makes them go, well, he's doing that. Maybe I need to not do whatever,
Right.
Change your mind a little bit, because some people are jerks sometimes.
I think the interesting thing about that is, and you brought it up with like the hat, Marine Corps veteran, things like that, is that transition back to civilian life is something that comes up quite a bit when we talk to veterans, and understanding you're gone for, let's say, 4 years, you're 18, you're a young adult, but you come back as like a brand new person in most of these cases. Walk me through that transition for you.
Well, when you have a job when you're in the military, let's just say you're we call them grunts, infantrymen, ground pounders, people that carry guns. There's not so much a need for you to walk around carrying an M16 in civilian life. So now you have to find something that you want to do.
Yeah.
So you weren't really sure what you wanted to do at 18, kind of why you joined the military, find some guidance. And it's tough because you really don't know what you want to do. And coming back out, you go home. So now you're a 20-something-year-old living at home with your parents, trying to make your way, and so I got to find a job. I got to do this. What do I want to do? Do I want to go to college?
Yeah.
So it makes it hard. You start kind of getting a little depressed on yourself because you don't, unless you take a job that's in the military and you can transition that military job into civilian life. It's extremely hard. There's no call for a tank operator out in civilian life.
Yeah.
There really isn't. So now you got to figure out, okay, what do I do?
So one of the things that's interesting to me, because 4 years could either be like a snap of a finger or it could feel like a lifetime. Is it that feeling of you're kind of kicking the can down the road of, I don't know what I want to do. You enlist, you serve, you come back out. You're painting this picture of getting back to where you came from often, going back, living with your folks or whoever it is, and then trying to kind of establish that identity again, or kind of figure out like what the heck is the next step? Is that how you're kind of processing it in the moment?
Yeah, and you reconnect with old friends and stuff like that didn't go in the military, that, you come home on leave. A lot of times you meet somebody in the military and then your time's up and you end up staying where you're at. So now you have no friends, no family, no job. And it's really hard then, because all you have is, say, your wife or your wife's family or whatever. And it's not like, until you're married for 20 years, you can't talk to them like you can talk to your own folks.
Yeah.
So it's tough. It's a battle.
Yeah.
It can be easy. You come out and say, hey, this is what I did. Post office hires a lot of veterans. So sometimes if you have an in somewhere.
And you ended up as a high voltage lineman.
Yeah.
Which, for the unaware, uneducated, walk me through.
Yes. It's the most money you can make without having a college education, in my mind.
Okay.
I was in a little town in Texas, and everybody's either a cattle farmer, a cotton farmer, or they work for a light company. Mm. So I met folks, and I didn't know anything about electricity when I started. And you got kids.
Yeah.
You got responsibilities. You have a car note, house note, you got all that stuff. So working is a high priority.
Yeah.
Making the most money you can make is in your mind. Nobody wants to go through life making $10 an hour.
Yeah.
Trying to raise a family, pay mortgage and all that other kind of stuff. And so I had friends that said, yeah, I can get you on, come on. And I found out that I could do it. Not everybody can do it. So that's what I did for 20 years.
I mean, you paint the picture well in terms of you got a family, you're trying to make money, right? That becomes the purpose that it's pretty clear what you have to do.
Yeah.
But just in terms of like your identity, like who is Lloyd? Like what do you care about? What interests you? Are you having to kind of figure it out on the go?
You do. Same as you figure out your life on the go. You have but you don't know how to raise your children. Every day poses a new challenge that you have to figure out because you've never been through it before. So it's the same for, every day is a challenge. It's not, even if you have a purpose, hey, I want to do this, something happens, it does. You have a kid. Yeah. Now your purpose moves a little bit, but you get different, so it's, back and forth.
As a Marine, as somebody who has gone through that, your mentality is like, I'm going to figure this stuff out. Like there's a no quit, it seems like, from my end, just as somebody kind of an onlooker talking to veterans and meeting them, that I feel like just as a normal civilian, I don't have that kind of, I don't know if it's grit or resilience, but I don't have that.
Some of it.
Okay.
Some of it is I'm not going to quit. And it all depends on your era in which you served. Different things affect different people.
Right.
So, and I hate to bring this up, but I remember the first time I seen my first fresh dead person.
Yeah.
It hits you in a certain way that you'll never forget. And this is a long time ago, and I remember it like it was yesterday. So depending on what era and where your job was and what you saw and what you didn't see, and a lot of people, you get tired of the fight. It's a tough fight. PTSD is a real thing.
Yeah.
And you just get tired of the fight, and so it is 22 a day.
Yeah,
that's horrible.
You had mentioned, coming home, seeing friends and family who remained civilians, didn't enlist, and you're coming home with all that, the PTSD, the experiences. Does that come up in conversation? I feel like it's an impossible thing to be able to even successfully communicate to somebody who's never seen anything like that.
People want to ask.
That's kind of what I figured.
They want to ask.
Okay.
Yeah. I made up good stories just to keep people from, they know I was in the military. So one was I was at home surfing and I got bit by a shark. One was that the back tire blew out of my motorcycle, hit a guardrail. So there's all kinds of stuff that you say, because 9 times out, it's like walking around in a packed bar. Everybody's got a drink, and you bump into one guy and he spills a drink on himself. His immediate reaction is to turn around in anger. But if he sees a blind man cane, it takes it down a notch, and now he's not so pissed anymore. Yeah. So you tell the story, people tend to look at you and go, oh, okay, thanks. They don't want to pry anymore because it wasn't like, we were doing night ops and blah, blah, blah. They don't want to hear the rest because you told them, and it kind of eases yourself too. So,
are you more comfortable talking about those things, or is it still?
I don't ever talk about it. Nobody asks anymore because I told them the story. So neighbors that, we have asked my children, what happened to your dad's leg, and of course I told them the motorcycle accident, and that's what they tell them.
Are you looking at those moments as like, this is a new Lloyd? Is this just like Lloyd 2.0? Is it?
You grow up real fast, I was happy-go-lucky. It didn't, in high school, it didn't matter or anything like that. Well, everything you do in the military matters to somebody. So showing up on time matters to somebody. Doing your job matters to somebody. Keeping your stuff clean, keeping yourself orderly, treating people with respect, it all matters to somebody.
Yeah.
So it's easy to bring that home and see how your change affects the way people handle you. My dad and I weren't real close in high school, but when I came back from the military, we got to be real close.
Yeah.
And we talked because now in his eyes, I'd grown up and had become a man, and I kind of look at things different, I understood. So it's a good thing.
Was it like an unspoken kind of change where?
Yeah. We speak about it now.
Okay.
Yeah. Years later. But yeah, we became better people.
Yeah.
Yeah. Part of the reason I went in the military in the first place was to get away from my family.
Sure.
You know, I was unhappy. I was rebellious.
Yeah.
Come out. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Then you become the adult that you think you can be, and
Sure.
you're not. So it's a struggle. Yeah, everything's a struggle.
But just like in your mind, it seems like you have this idea of like things are hard, life is hard, life presents challenges.
I can't even think of a good example, but if I were to tell you, hey, we're going to replace this carburetor on this engine, you've never done it before, okay? So now you're skeptical, you're worried about it, but I'm a pro mechanic.
Yeah.
Man, it's easy. You got this. It's easy, but it's not for you until you know. So everything's a struggle until you know how to handle it. Kind of what I mean. Everything is a struggle. If you don't know what to do, it's a struggle.
Yeah.
If you don't understand how to raise your children, it's going to be a struggle. If you didn't have good, background to it, it's going to be hard. If you were raised poorly, you're going to raise your children poorly because you don't know. Everything's a struggle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we talk about something that's going to bring a little bit of levity into this?
Yeah.
Can we talk about your golf game?
My golf game's horrible.
What's the deal with golf? Did you pick it up at a young age? Or?
No. Well, yeah, I did it as just, you want to play golf? Yeah, sure. I can hit the ball around, no problem. 2019, I came back from working in Puerto Rico, helping them restore the power as a lineman for the country, for the island. And I had some medical issues, and I lost the sight in both my eyes, half sight in both my eyes. Yeah. So I'm blind on the right side. So my wife says, hey, you played golf in Puerto Rico. You like golf. Why don't you go work at the golf course? Because I couldn't drive a car anymore. I was really retired then because I couldn't work on high voltage electricity, not being blind on that part of because I couldn't drive the big trucks and all that. So, yeah, I went to work at the golf course. I was a cart guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I said, if I'm going to work, I might as well take it serious. So, yeah, so I started taking it serious. And then I got involved in Help Our Patriots Everywhere, Hope, PGA Hope. And it introduces veterans to other veterans, and it gives them something to do. So I started really getting serious and trying to become somebody in the PGA. It's easier to be a PGA professional and start trying to do something for veterans than some just Joe Blow off the street and going to talk to a PGA guy and say, hey, I want to do this. Well, there's steps.
Yeah.
So I'm in the middle of my steps.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's what golf is.
Yeah.
It's my second act is what I'm going to say. I care a lot about veterans and I had a good time when I went, and it just watching everybody interact. Didn't matter, Navy, Air Force, Marines, whoever you were, you all signed a blank check at one point in your life for whoever. So, yeah, that was why I took up golf.
One of the things that I pegged you for right away, I said, are you a Callaway guy?
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. I just had a certain vibe that you struck me as a Callaway guy. So, you can toss it. I'll catch it. First try. So, one of the things that I got for you, I'm not sure what your driver game looks like. I'm not sure what your cover game looks like, if this is going to be a mismatch, but...
no, you can't mismatch the American color.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
so one of the things that I wanted to give you just as somebody who grew up with a dad who was a golfer, and I grew up playing golf, and I haven't been a golfer for a long time in terms of identity. Talking to you kind of reignited that. And when I got off the phone with you, and I went on Callaway's website, and I was like, I wonder what they have. So this is for you.
Well, thank you very much.
You don't have to use it if you re-gift
Put it on as soon as we're done.
Okay. Yeah. If you love it, great. If not, I totally understand. But
No, I love it. It's awesome. Thank you very much.
Yeah,
Appreciate
of course.
That's great.
I thought it would be something that you would appreciate. And like I said, it spoke to me in some ways.
Perfect.
For the most part, these are questions written by people. It's part of the Diary of a CEO program. And so we're not gonna do any Hollywood magic here, but I'm gonna have you cut the deck once I give it a little shuffle. If you could just give me a cut, doesn't have to be perfect, but you can cut it in any way. Oh, see?
How's that?
The studio magic. Here we go.
There we go.
All right, you ready?
Yes.
Nothing out of the ordinary. There's one card that's in this deck that I've been meaning to throw out. I keep it for whatever reason, but I'll skip it. I'll tell you now. I don't think we'll get it. So this is big picture question, a little morbid for you. So we'll start off a little dark, but if you were lying on your deathbed, what 3 things would you want to have achieved in your life that you haven't already? Is there anything, I don't know if it's a bucket list, I don't know if it's the second chapter stuff, are there any things that you're looking at as going, before I kick the can, I want to do, it could be 1 thing, 2 things, whatever you feel comfortable with.
Well, let's see. Something that I want to do before I kick the bucket. Never thought about lying on my deathbed and wanting to do things. I've skydived. I've done all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
There's some things I would have changed.
Walk me through those.
I would have changed my understanding of what I was on wife number 3.
Okay.
Because I didn't understand and I didn't go to therapy and I didn't do all that stuff, and which I think was a part of my divorces. And I probably would have liked to have understood that. I probably would have been a better dad. I would have been a better husband. I would have been a better person.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't start going to church till, like 2019. So there's things I would change. I don't know if there's one thing that I would want to do.
Yeah.
Because I kind of do, what I feel like doing when I feel like doing it.
Sure.
I'm an adult. I worked hard for my money. I can spend my money on what I want to do. My kids are grown. So if I want to go race a car, I can go race a car if I wanted to.
Yeah.
So I don't have any wants, but I have some regrets that I would change.
Was it like one epiphany, one moment where you realize like, I need to, I don't know if it's invest in myself, but I need to do something to kind of figure out.
From 2019, I've had 2 heart attacks, cancer. I went blind. I had a stroke. So all this stuff happened. So I was laying in the hospital bed and my brother-in-law said, hey, can my preacher come and talk to you a little bit, this, that, and that? I said, yeah, sure. So he would come up and we hit it off. We became good friends, this, that, and the other. And I was laying in my hospital bed one time and he always told me, yeah, our men's group, we got, we're praying for you. You're on the prayer list, this, that, and the other. I was scared I was going to, I really was. I thought, this is it. Might have been. So that was the first time I felt that I was going to live. I had this overwhelming feeling, and my friends all call it, that was the Holy Spirit. So there was an epiphany moment. That was it right there. In answer to your question, yes, sir.
Yeah, well, I think the answer to the question was you had that moment.
Yeah, I did.
We don't need to talk about the what if. I mean, you had the actual moment.
Yeah.
The counter to that is, what if you said no, right? Brother-in-law comes in, is talking to you about, can the preacher come through?
Yeah.
And
I don't know.
But what if
Never thought about it.
What if it's stubbornness? What if it's whatever it is, right? And you're like, you know what? No thanks.
My family has a really good way of making me feel guilty about certain things. I don't know what it is. It's just sometimes, and it's normal question, hey, can my preacher come? And just looking at my brother-in-law, Steve, knowing the kind of man he is, if I'd have said no, I'd have felt like I was disappointing him, and I didn't want to disappoint Uncle Steve, So
Of course not.
Yeah. So the answer was just automatic. Yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to Steve.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a good one. What are you clear about now that maybe a year or 2 ago you didn't have clarity around? It could be sort of direction in life. It could be what things you ought to be doing that you're not doing already.
I don't know. I think right now the object is to try to be the best human I can be for my grandson. I want to be the best example. He lives with me, so I want to be the best example I can for him. I feel like that's part of my duties. All my children are gone. They have their own opinions on everything. They have their own ideas. My grandson doesn't. He needs to be taught right, wrong, given direction. So I want to be the best person. I want to be the best example for him. So yeah, that's where my focus is.
I talked to my dad about, we'll use a golf analogy, but about a mulligan, right? Mm-hmm. Having kids, trying your best, being a young parent, and then you have an opportunity to be a grandparent, and you get, I don't know if it's a second chance, but it's a new opportunity to to have that impact on somebody. And so with a grandson,
I know the mistakes I made with my own children, so I try not to make those same mistakes with my grandson. So yeah, it is a mulligan. That's a good term.
you can use
It's
it.
a mulligan.
You can steal it.
I'm gonna.
You have permission.
I will.
I took it
If
from
I
him.
ever get talked to about it, I'm gonna say it.
I stole it from him. You could steal it from me. Somebody will take it from you. It'll be a whole thing. Would you do it all again?
Yes.
Okay.
In a heartbeat.
That was quick.
In a heartbeat. I am not the person I am today
Yeah.
without the battle scars, the being a jerk, the everything I've done made me the person I am today. So all those lessons that I've learned, yeah, sure would.
You don't look at it from the perspective, because you used the word regret before, and I think it's a powerful word.
Mm-hmm.
There's some things that you regret.
Yeah. I think everybody has some sort of regret.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But even with that considered, that was lightning quick.
Yeah, nah, I'd do it all over again. No issues in my mind. No, not whatsoever.
Yeah.
My path, I've met outside of my family. I've met people I call family. Yeah. And if I would have changed anything, those people wouldn't be in my life. My wife now wouldn't be in my life if I'd changed something and gone back. I can have regrets about how I handled the situation, but I wouldn't change it because I'm grateful I have the life I have now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not dead. I'm being seen, not viewed.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm happy. My kids are all happy, healthy. They're contributing members to society. So, my grandson, he's getting there. He's going to school. So yeah, I wouldn't change nothing. Makes you who you are today. If you're happy with who you are today, then why change where you came from? I'm happy with the person I am today. It took me a long time to get here. Yeah. And I wouldn't change anything because those experiences, those lessons that I've learned, those hard times that I went through, those, yeah.
I got one last one for you.
Uh-oh.
I think I know the answer. Are you happy?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Because I hear grateful, like I'm reading between the lines in terms of appreciative, where you are in life, but a big balloon term like
I have
happy.
a very, very good support system.
Okay.
So I am happy. Everybody talks about your marriage, key to marriage, good communication. You got to be able to talk to your wife or your better half or whoever about anything. Being a man, you don't want to talk to your wife about everything, Now, I've been married to the same woman. We've been together for 14 years, and we have talked about everything, even the embarrassing stuff. So I'm very happy. The support system I have is wonderful. Yeah, I'm older now that it's not so taboo to talk about things that were taboo when you were younger. Yeah. Back in the day, you used to talk about, girls, beer, fast cars, all that other kind of stuff. Yeah, now I talk about medication, surgeries.
Yeah.
Retirement plans.
I think a couple of heart attacks and a stroke probably does that in for you, right?
It does. And next thing you know, your neighbors who are, everybody has a story about it. You don't realize that everybody has a story about heart attack, cancer, somebody, So I got a really good support system. So I'm very, very happy with where I am and with my present person.
The thing that at the core of what we've been trying to do with the program and the basic idea is there's something about the shame, about the guilt, about just not wanting to talk about a lot of topics, but the one that we find people just definitely don't want to talk about is debt, talking about finances, how they got there, where they are, right? People can talk about the triumph if you made it out of it, right? It's like, oh, I was X amount in debt and now I'm good. Like that's a fun story.
It is.
You don't care telling anybody that one, but man, I'm drowning in debt. Geez, I don't know how the heck I'm going to figure this out. Like that story seemingly is a very universal story. And yet that's not something that people feel very comfortable talking about it and sort of justifiably so.
It's hard because everybody wants to be able to, you're raised a man. What's the basic man's job? Provide. You're the hunter fisherman. You're the provider. Yeah. So not being able to have money, just in case, everybody tells you save for a rainy day, save for a rainy day. It's hard. If your spouse gets sick, and you're living paycheck to paycheck, it's hard. Just being able to provide for your family is triumph there. If you can't, there lies the stigma, and it might not be your fault that you can't.
Yeah.
It's economy, it costs $18 a gallon of milk, it's hard. So being in debt is just taboo.
Yeah.
You can't talk about it. You don't want your friends to know that you can't afford, because then they look at you and you feel shame because your peers are looking at you. You feel like your peers are looking at you in a different way. They're probably not, but you feel like they are. So I've been through it twice now.
Okay.
Yeah, I've had the triumph and then the lull again, and
Yeah.
working your way back from the lull is hard, but it's embarrassing. Hey, mom, dad, you raised me, but I need to borrow some money because I can't. Well, what are you spending your money on? That's the first thing your parents want to know what's going on. Or, you try to talk to your wife. What are you doing this? Well, we need this, we need that. And
Yeah.
you can't argue. Try to work harder. People have 2 jobs, and sometimes you just never catch up.
Yeah.
Well, don't owe any taxes. You'll never catch up from that. That is a killer.
We talked about, and this is something that I think in a lot of circumstances unique to individuals on fixed incomes. We would love to make a little bit extra money working overtime in a week, and maybe I can make 1.5 on a weekend or whatever, a holiday. But fixed income and just these actual constraints where you just don't have any flexibility to either make more or get ahead. I'd be curious to know sort of your experience and perspective.
There's a lot of stuff I don't do just because I know to maintain my present way of living.
Yeah.
I make X amount of dollars. I'm not unhappy with my way of life right now, but I could be if I were to change my spending habits. I could do this. Well, no, because I can't rob Peter to pay Paul anymore because Peter's gone.
Yeah.
All I have is Paul. So I can't. So it's really hard. It is, and then credit cards get you. Oh, don't get into there.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't do credit cards.
And you're not going to be surprised by this. You are not the first person to tell the horrors of credit cards and the challenges of just digging yourself into a hole because you needed to, right? I think that the part that I think a lot of people overlook, the conversation is usually, how do I make progress against the debt? The thing that a lot of people are either overlooking or just maybe they don't want to talk about it is just that uphill battle of trying to even pay the minimums versus trying to pay a little bit extra to get ahead. And so for you, when we talked about that sort of epiphany as in the personal life, but like the financially, did you have a moment of, uh-oh?
It took me 2 years after I had my heart attack to get my credit back.
Okay.
Everything back. So what I think my biggest problem is I made X amount of dollars, okay, living in this kind of house. So happy wife, happy life. So your wife wants a little bit more. It's hard to say no after you just struggled and you did all this to get yourself back on track.
Yeah.
So you need something. Well, put on a credit card.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, okay, we're living fine paying $1,000 a month for this house, and we have $3,000 left over. Sure, I can put something on a credit card. I'm good. Then you go buy a new house because your wife. Then you got to furnish the house.
Yeah.
Then you get more debt with your credit cards because you got to put stuff in this new house that you really didn't, but it is what it is. It's the great American dream. Own your house. Nobody wants to rent. Have your own space. So you bite the bullet a little bit, and sometimes the bullet's just a little too big to chew on.
Yeah.
And you find yourself struggling. Minimum payments don't do it. I struggled by myself, I think I had, almost $22,000. And I took a loan out against my 401k, and I did a bridge loan only because I knew the president of the bank for $10,000. Yeah, so he helped me get out of the first one because I didn't want anybody to know that, you got your kids in high school. You don't want people to know you struggle with finances, even though they're probably struggling too. You just don't want nobody to know. You want to be able to live comfortably. So credit cards is huge.
Walk me through that emotional toll of having People have described it in different ways as like either a dark cloud kind of looming above you with your debt and your finances, or you kind of feel like there's just something trying to catch up to you and you're trying your best to get speed going in the opposite direction.
I'm 57 years old, and on the other end of the phone calling me, trying to find out why I can't pay bills is a 30-year-old kid. So now I'm trying to explain myself to a 30-year-old kid about why my finances aren't working. And I don't know that he's in any better position than I am. And you get frustrated. Why am I talking to this kid? Yeah. I don't mind talking to my neighbor who's been through the same situation as I am, this, that, and other. But I ain't talking no kid, and you got to bite the bullet. Sometimes that's their job. They went to school for this. You got to understand that they're a little smarter than you. Truth. Yeah, you're not the smartest guy in the world. And how'd you get in debt in the first place? Why? Because you weren't the smartest guy in the room.
Is that pride that's keeping you back? Okay.
Easily, yeah. Yeah. It's like having your son tell you,
sure,
well, why'd you go to the grocery store? You didn't need to buy that thing of Twinkies. You didn't need to spend that $5. You could have put that $5 in my bank and I could go to college. You hate having your kid be smarter than you.
Sure.
So when you get on the phone with these financial people, you hate. So and it's the same. My neighbor and I talk a lot about it, and he's like, this is what you need to do. And, you're like, okay, so you're telling me to do this. I'm trying to keep my wife happy. She wants this, so it's a battle between, do I put my foot down? Then I'm living in not such a happy home anymore.
Yeah, sure.
Or do I just keep going and we keep struggling and we try to find a way to make ends meet? We try to pay the minimums, this, that, and other. We get a 0% card to pay off this card, and you're just trading debt for debt for debt for debt for debt for debt.
Yeah.
For debt. Yeah. So it is. Credit cards are huge. Everybody's going to have a house note. Everybody's going to have a car note. You're going to have groceries, electric, food. You're going to have those. You don't have to have credit card debt.
Yeah.
But why? Because we think, keeping up with the Joneses.
It's not just, and I think this is the part that a lot of people maybe overlook. It's not just the day-to-day stuff, but it's the holiday coming up and you want to be the cool grandpa and you want to do the thing that's going to bring them joy. And even if you have to dig yourself a little bit lower, the trade-off is they'll be happy with it. And so I'm just curious about, like, what's that internal monologue like when you're looking at this debt pile and you're looking at, events coming up?
Yeah. It all comes down to quality of life. If you are happy with your quality of life, sitting at home watching Oprah all day long, eating beans and Franks, this, that, and that, you're happy. Yay. Good for you. Okay. Keep paying, doing what but you're not. Your quality of life it's just not, who you are. You want your grandson to have a better life than you. So what do? I'm going to use a golf analogy.
Yeah.
Everybody that plays golf has something wrong with their swing, whatever. You can't fix yourself. There are coaches in golf for a reason. Tiger Woods is the greatest golfer in our lifetime. You have to have help. Tiger Woods is the greatest golfer in the world. You figure he doesn't need anybody. He just go out and play. No, he's got this kind of coach. He's got that kind of coach. He also has, guess what? A financial planner. He's got people that look out for his money and help him look out for his money. Why? Well, yeah, he can afford them, but still, imagine if he didn't have that. Who would be taking money from him? He'd be, no better than us. So actually speaking to somebody about your situation, it doesn't matter if you don't have millions, that you could still find somebody to help you maintain your thousands. You can play golf once a week. Your quality of life is better. You can take your wife out to a dinner. Now me and my wife actually split dinners. It's not really within our budget, but we'll get an entree and split it, have salad. Yeah.
No, I think what you're presenting is a very logical, rational way of making sense as to how to, like, what's the strategy to get out of debt? What's the strategy to maintain a certain kind of lifestyle? The thing that I would kind of push back on is that this is you with all this experience, with hindsight on your side, right?
Still, yes. Yeah, you can't fix stupid sometimes. No, I know. And it is, it's, some of it's you just have to keep, I can't control the price of food. I can't control the price of gas. I can't control the price of electricity. So you're going along and you know what to do, but I can't control that. 10 years ago, it cost me $20 to fill up my tank. And now 10 years later, whatever it is, it cost me 3 times as much. So now I'm redirected money over here, but how do I maintain my quality of life? Yeah. It's so you cut back on things, but you still have to live. Yeah. Your kids have to do things. So you got to go buy books. You got to buy, your kid wants swimming lessons, sorry, we can't afford it, but Joey's doing it. Everybody in the neighborhood's doing it. And you don't want to be that one parent that's, so, and it works its way around to more than one. I don't want to be the grandparent that tells my kids, they're struggling, so I pay the bills in the house. Yeah. So it's, but I'm not going to tell them not to do something. Sure. They got to learn the same way I learned, but so back in debt.
So walk me through sort of this second stint going through the debt process. What was the dollar amount that you were looking at before you started talking to veteran debt assistance?
$53,000.
Okay.
Yeah, I had a lot of credit card debt.
Okay.
So you talk to them, and you're embarrassed already. That's a lot of money. It is, and it's all interest. But I threw in taxes and all that stuff too. So my total debt was about $53,000. My credit card debt was right at $25,000. So what I asked when I went to the Veterans Debt Assistance, and I just Googled Veterans Debt Assistance, and there are so many resources out there. You just got to swallow a little bit of pride. Yeah. Talk to that youngster who went to college to fix all this stuff and let them give you a little help. They know how to negotiate. If Joe Blow calls up Citibank and you say, hey, I'm having problems making my bill. How about I just pay you half? Sorry, dude, you signed a contract, Yeah. Companies that do it for a living, they understand, and they explain you half is better than nothing, because right now they're gonna get nothing from me. Sure. They eliminated most of my stuff to about half, so I'm down to paying a monthly note, and the fee comes out of my monthly note, and it gives me a little extra cash in my pocket, so that if I want to take the grandson to McDonald's, I can. Yeah. So instead of paying $1,200 a month, I pay a third of that.
What was it about veteran debt assistance as you were kind of looking at the offering, looking at the legitimacy of it? What was the thing that made you go, this seems like it's a good fit for me?
Different search engines, Yahoo, Google. It always comes up, and if you ask the same question, best veterans debt assistance, it'll come up and they'll give you a ranking, 9.9, and it'll go down and it'll rank. And then, of course, you go to the Better Business Bureau, and you find out, and it's the same companies that are always coming up. Now, granted, I know you can pay, but sure, you have to trust somebody sometimes. So I trusted the Better Business Bureau, and that's how I went with what I'm doing. And in a nutshell, Google.
No, that's good. No, yeah. There's always some effort on the research end of it, on the front end. Is this legitimate? Is this going to work out for me?
Everybody's scared. You're already in debt, you're up to your nostrils. The last thing you want to do is have somebody scam you. So when it comes to that kind of stuff, I think everybody, military more than anybody, is a little paranoid about how. So it's you're looking to other veterans. You figure, a veteran isn't gonna necessarily screw over another veteran, because they understand. But as soon as you bite the bullet and decide to swallow your pride, you end up talking to a young kid, and then you got to reevaluate your feelings, because he's a young kid, but he went to college. World needs ditch diggers too, so I'm one of them ditch diggers. So I can't help it that they had more opportunity than me. It's not, wasn't in my DNA. Yeah. So I'll talk to that 25, 30-year-old kid, let him help me get out of debt, and then my family looks at me different because I can afford to take them to McDonald's. Yeah. Hey, I want some swimming lessons. You look at all them professional athletes, somebody helped them out along the way. Right. So Not that I'm a professional athlete, but this is my help.
Yeah.
You know, my grandson could be a pro golfer for all we know.
Sure.
And since I'm getting this help, I can afford to have. So it snowballs.
Something you said about a veteran wouldn't willingly screw over another veteran. Have you talked to others about veteran debt assistance? Would you? And what would you say?
It's hard to talk about veterans debt assistance because not every veteran's going to tell you, oh, yeah, I'm up to my eyeballs. But when it does happen, it's who'd you talk to? Oh, I talked to so-and-so. Okay, well, maybe I should give them a call. Everybody runs into it. So, yeah, my neighbors are, one of them is a veteran, sure. And we talk about it. Because we're both, you know, same income bracket, same neighborhood, same thing. And so, yeah. And then, you know, next thing you know, you're talking to your dad about it. And your dad talks to his sister, and nephew twice removed on the stepdad's side ends up, you know, oh, hey, you know what Ray's son did? Ray's son did this, and this helped him. So it'll help somebody just mentioning it.
Yeah.
Even passing, you know, it doesn't matter if you don't have anybody in your immediate family or anybody
Sure.
like that, you know, as long as you talk about it. Yeah, it's like PTSD. As long as you talk about what's bothering you, it ain't gonna bother you anymore. As long as you talk about trying to fix, there's a lot of services out there for veterans. And there's a lot of them in debt. For the same reason I'm in debt. It's easy to get a credit card.
Yeah.
And you start out in the military, you can get a credit card easy because you got a fixed income. They know where your income's coming. They know you have this. So you just do a payroll deduction and it takes out so much and it pays your credit card, you know, and it doesn't work that way in the real world. You get this credit card to pay that credit card, you get that credit card to pay this other credit card. Next thing you know, you're sucks.
So I just want to say thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing your story, for being here. I know it's not always the most fun thing to talk about, so I appreciate you coming out.
Thank you for having me, Mike. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
It was a pleasure meeting you, and thanks to everybody here, the camera crew and everybody else that helped make it possible.
Yeah, thanks everyone.
Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and if you have any questions, make sure to leave them below in the comment section. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure to click on the thing that just popped up.